The Amityville Horror is a famous and controversial haunting that occurred in Amityville, New York, during the 1970s. The events that unfolded at the Amityville house captured the public's attention and continue to fascinate people to this day. It all began when the Lutz family, consisting of George and Kathy Lutz and their 3 children, moved into a spacious Dutch colonial house located at 112 Ocean Avenue in December 1975. What the family didn't know at the time was that the house had a dark and tragic history. Just a little over a year earlier, in November 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr., the previous owner, had brutally murdered 6 members of his family in the very same house. Ronald DeFeo Jr. was born on September 26, 1951, in Brooklyn, New York. He grew up in a dysfunctional family environment characterized by frequent arguments and conflicts. His father, Ronald DeFeo Sr., was described as a strict and domineering figure, while his mother, Louise DeFeo, was often portrayed as more submissive. DeFeo's troubled life included a history of substance abuse, particularly heroin and LSD. He also had a criminal record, having been arrested for offenses such as auto theft and possession of stolen property. He worked at his father's car dealership but frequently clashed with his family members and struggled to hold a steady job. The events that transpired on the night of November 13, 1974, at the DeFeo family home in Amityville, New York, changed the course of DeFeo's life. He shot and killed his parents, Ronald Sr. and Louise DeFeo, as well as his 2 brothers, Mark and John, and his 2 sisters, Dawn and Allison, while they were sleeping in their beds. Shortly after settling in the house, the Lutz family started experiencing a series of disturbing and unexplained phenomena. They began noticing strange odors permeating the air, often described as foul and rancid. The presence of cold spots throughout the house, despite adequate heating, left them perplexed. As days went by, the activity intensified. The family claimed to hear disembodied voices whispering and arguing, doors slamming shut on their own, and footsteps echoing through the halls when no one else was around. George Lutz, in particular, reported waking up every night at precisely 3:15 a.m., the approximate time of the DeFeo murders, feeling an unseen presence and experiencing intense feelings of dread. Physical encounters with unseen entities became increasingly frequent and terrifying. George and Kathy both claimed to have been physically pushed and touched by an invisible force. They witnessed objects moving on their own accord, levitating, and even witnessed green slime-like substance oozing from the walls and keyholes. Their young daughter, Missy, spoke of her imaginary friend named Jody, who allegedly appeared as a demonic pig with glowing red eyes. The Lutz family's fear and anguish continued to escalate, reaching a point where they felt their lives were in danger. George became increasingly irritable and hostile, while Kathy experienced vivid nightmares and persistent feelings of being watched. The children also displayed behavioral changes and nightmares. Missy, Kathy's youngest daughter, claimed to have an imaginary friend named Jody. She described Jody as a pig-like creature with glowing red eyes. Missy often talked and played with Jody, and she believed that Jody could transform in size and shape. Missy's interactions with Jody added to the overall atmosphere of fear and unease in the house. The Lutz children, particularly Daniel, the oldest son, experienced their beds shaking violently during the night. This phenomenon occurred independently in different rooms. The children reported seeing shadowy figures moving throughout the house. They described witnessing dark apparitions lurking in the hallways or peering into their rooms. These shadowy figures contributed to their feeling of being constantly watched and threatened. The children's toys were frequently affected by the alleged paranormal activity. Objects would move on their own, disappear and reappear in different locations, or break without any apparent cause. The children reported having vivid nightmares while living in the house. They described dreams that were filled with terrifying imagery and often centered around the tragic events that had taken place there. Sleep disturbances were common for the entire family, and the children would wake up feeling frightened and uneasy. Father Ray, the local priest contacted by the Lutz family to bless their home, played a significant role in the Amityville horror story. His encounter with the supernatural phenomena in the house added another layer of fear and confirmed the family's belief that the house was plagued by evil forces. When the Lutz family reached out to Father Ray, they sought his assistance in performing a religious blessing or exorcism to rid the house of the malevolent presence they believed to be haunting them. The exact details of the priest's visit and the subsequent events vary depending on different accounts of the story. According to some versions, Father Ray arrived at the Amityville house to perform the blessing. As he proceeded with the ritual, he reportedly heard a deep, menacing voice instructing him to get out. This encounter deeply disturbed the priest and left him shaken and unnerved. Feeling overwhelmed and unable to continue the exorcism, Father Ray abruptly ended the session and left the house. The experience with Father Ray's encounter further intensified the Lutz family's fears and confirmed their belief that there was a powerful and malevolent force within the house. The incident was seen as evidence that the haunting was beyond the scope of traditional religious intervention. Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned paranormal investigators, became involved in the Amityville case after the Lutz family reached out to them for help. The Warrens were well known for their work in researching and documenting alleged supernatural and demonic phenomena. Upon being contacted by the Lutz family, Ed and Lorraine Warren visited the Amityville house to investigate the reported paranormal activity. They conducted a series of interviews with the family members, gathering detailed accounts of their experiences. The Warrens also brought along a team of researchers and paranormal experts to assist them in their investigation. During their time at the house, the Warrens claimed to have witnessed and documented several supernatural phenomena. They reported experiencing cold spots, unexplained odors, and hearing strange noises. According to their accounts, they also observed moving objects and witnessed doors and windows slamming shut on their own. The Warrens believed that the Amityville house was not only haunted but infested by malevolent entities. They asserted that the presence of these entities was responsible for the intense and terrifying experiences reported by the Lutz family. They claimed that the supernatural occurrences were linked to the tragic events that took place in the house, suggesting that negative energy or demonic forces were at play. In addition to their on-site investigation, the Warrens also collected various forms of evidence, including photographs, audio recordings, and video footage. They documented the alleged paranormal phenomena they encountered during their stay. Some of these pieces of evidence were later presented to support the claims made by the Lutz family. Following their investigation, the Warrens continued to be involved in the Amityville case and publicly supported the Lutz family's claims of paranormal activity. They wrote about their experiences in the book The Amityville Horror, a true story, which was released in 1977. Feeling overwhelmed and desperate to escape the terrifying environment, the Lutz family made the difficult decision to abandon their dream home after just 28 days. They left behind most of their belongings and sought refuge with Kathy's mother. News of the Amityville haunting spread rapidly, attracting widespread media attention and public curiosity. Jay Anson's book, The Amityville Horror, published in 1977, chronicled the terrifying experiences of the Lutz family. The book became an instant bestseller, captivating readers with its chilling accounts of supernatural events. It was later adapted into several films, including the 1979 movie of the same name. After the Lutz family's departure, the house went through subsequent ownership changes. Over the years, different families have lived in the Amityville house, and some have reported no unusual experiences or paranormal activity. The house has been renovated and even had its iconic high windows removed in an attempt to deter curiosity seekers. In terms of the legacy of the Amityville story, it remains one of the most famous and controversial cases of alleged haunting and paranormal activity. The events described by the Lutz family, as well as the subsequent investigations and media coverage, have fascinated and divided believers and skeptics for decades. Critics and skeptics have raised doubts about the authenticity of the Lutz family's claims, suggesting that they may have fabricated or exaggerated their experiences. Some believe that the events were a hoax or a result of publicity seeking, while others argue that the Lutz family genuinely believed in the supernatural events they described. Ultimately, the true nature of the Amityville haunting remains unresolved and open to individual interpretation. The story continues to captivate the interest of those intrigued by the supernatural, and it has left a lasting impact on popular culture through books, films, and various adaptations.